The first question is, what's your take on paying a ransom or not? Joseph, is that, why don't we start with you there on that one? I think that's probably more up your alley.
Sure. So I want to make sure that the answer is scoped or defined correctly. So we're an insurance brokerage firm, right? So we represent our clients to the overall marketplace, the insurance marketplace, and insurance carriers would make a decision on whether or not to pay a ransomware. So with that clarified, paying ransomware is a challenging proposition from the onset, right? You're ultimately placing a level of trust in a criminal actor that if you pay them a dollar amount or a sum of money that they have requested, that after that they will be an honorable person and make good on the exchange, right? They'll provide your data back, they'll provide your systems back, they'll evict themselves from your system, and they won't try to attack you again, which is a precarious arrangement from the onset. That said, there are business level decisions that may come into play on whether or not to pay that ransomware, right? So certainly if you're looking at issues of prolonged downtime without paying the ransomware because you don't have the capability to evict them and to enact redundancy and things of these natures, that's going to be a consideration on behalf of not only your organization but on behalf of the carrier. Aside from prolonged downtime, if the ask is not particularly high in some cases against what policy limit may be available, it could be looked at as potentially like a nuisance payment just to get them away and get you back to business. So there's a lot of considerations to be made, but I certainly understand the level of concern on the onset that, again, you're trusting a criminal actor to be an honorable person after you've made that payment to them, which is certainly scary, and there can certainly be complications that could arise if they don't turn out to be that honorable person after that payment is made.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's going to come down to a case by case basis. But I think we typically see it's pretty split, from what we see in the industry. To your point, just comes down to if you need to expedite getting the data back, or frankly just how over a barrel they have you as a result of the attack, based on things like immutable backups and availability of data and whatnot. So hopefully that helps you with your question, TJ.
There's sophistication to it. I'll give you a quick little example. There was a large employment agency here that was providing professional staffing, quite a bit of professional staffing throughout the Southwest region. And I had lunch with their risk manager just last week. And at the time that he was there as their risk manager, they were breached 3 days before they were about to process 21,000 W-2s for the year. So clearly, wow, the actor knew that they were about to process all their W-2s for all the staffing they'd done for the year, and that they had them pretty well over a barrel. So you certainly can't, not issue those W-2s in a timely manner, because there's a lot of issues there from a federal and state regulation level. So despite the fact that they're criminals, that doesn't mean they're not necessarily sophisticated in their attacks.
Yeah, and also speaking of the lack of sophistication, and Rob could probably back me up on this a little bit, we also find that we hear stories about how these are professional organizations with, some of them even going as far as to have customer support reps if your keys aren't working and things like that. What I would say is that I think there's some, I think that totes the line of urban legend versus reality in a lot of cases. In many cases, in fact, AIT being a security, we build and manage security solutions for our customers. We find that a lot of these organizations botch the job. In fact, the last 2 organizations that came to us mid-breach, the bad actor made mistakes in each of those cases that led to not only not getting the data back, but us having to go in and basically re-architect all of their moving from hybrid to Azure native identity and whatnot, because the threat actor actually broke replication, which caused us to not be able to save anything, right? So you don't want to be at the mercy of these folks, I think, which is the main point, right? Which is Joseph has the ability to place everyone with a with a provider, with a solution for when you need it, to know that you're protected. But ideally, we want that to be a nice to have. In the event that happens, we don't want to. We obviously don't want to use it if we don't have to.
Yeah.
We all need cyber insurance. Nobody wants to use it, right? And I think that's why we synergize so well on this call. Is AIT? We are a firm that basically deploys Microsoft Sentinel for our customers. So we're building a SIM and a SOAR for our customers in their subscription, so they own it, and leveraging all the value of the Microsoft investment you've already made to bring all of those security tools to bear. So many of the methodologies and tools that Rob mentioned today, those are all sort of in the toolkit that we're putting together for our customers to ensure that they have not only 24/7 security, but also a level of grooming, tuning, optimization, and an evergreen environment. Because as the threat vector and the landscape changes, so too must the security platform. And so that's kind of at the root for anyone wondering about AIT that may not be familiar with us, of what we do. I think that here on this last slide, as we don't appear to have any more questions, you'll find my contact information. Again, my name's Bush Williams. My phone numbers and my email are there. If exploring additional security through the Microsoft licensing that you're already paying for is something you're interested in, I would love to speak with you. Feel free to reach out anytime. And Joseph, I guess if you wouldn't mind just wrapping us up here with again, how to contact you, what you provide, and we will end the session.
Sure. Yeah. If you want to scan the QR code there, you should have my digital business card. And then I'll close this with a little bit of imagery that I think does a great job of displaying the synergy that you'd like to have between your MSSP, your cybersecurity provider, and your insurance agent and your insurance policy, which is this. I often think of cybersecurity as walking a tightrope, right? So your MSSP is going to help you understand how to walk that tightrope. You're going to get the right shoes. You're going to learn how to hold the balance beam. You're not going to go too fast. You're not going to go too slow. You're going to stop when you need to stop, but you're not going to stop when you shouldn't stop. All these different things, right? So they're teaching you from compliance and frameworks and systems and people and all these different things, how to walk that tightrope. But the reality is occasionally you might fall. So the cyber liability insurance that should be provided by your agency becomes that properly rated and properly sized net that's going to catch you if you do fall off that tightrope. I think that's a good way to describe the synergy between our organizations and how our
Absolutely.
clients are best served when we exercise that synergy.
That's well said. Absolutely. And Joseph, just one more time, as far as best way to contact you, you've got the QR code here. And what would be a good example of someone who's evaluating or curious about their cyber insurance, where they currently stand? Like, what would be a common question that someone in attendance might have that would lead them to you? What's a good example of where someone may be on this journey that would be a good place for them to reach out to you?
Sure. Two easy situations. If you don't have a policy, you probably should, and let's talk about it. And if you do have a policy, you probably have a lot of questions, and you probably don't feel like you understand it a whole lot. So let's get a copy of that policy and let's schedule a time to talk about it together and see if it really maps to the expectations that you have for it and to the needs that you have from the risk exposure you incur from operating your entity.
Great. Thank you so much.